So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Ananda Balayogi Yogi Bhavanani ji. So, Dr. Bhavanani is a director of Center of Yoga Therapy Education and Research and professor of yoga therapy at Balaji Vidyapeeth University, Pondicherry. DSc in yoga from S. Vyasa. He has authored 19 DVDs and 23 books on yoga, a recognized PhD guide, and is the first Indian to be recognized as certified yoga therapist by the International Associations of Yoga Therapists, USA. He is currently member of numerous expert committees of Ministry of Ayush and also a consultant resource person for the WHO Collaborative Center in Traditional Medicine at Moraji Desai National Institute of Yoga. So I'd request now Anandji to take over the mic and share his wisdom with us. You have 15 minutes and the mic is all yours.
Thank you so much, Sadhana ji. Very special day today, and my heartfelt gratitude to Hello My Yoga, with whom I have been associated for quite some time now, who are doing wonderful work in making sure yoga reaches people as it should, holistically, not in bits and pieces, but as something that enables us to have peace within and create peace outside also. Yoga is life itself, and every moment of life, when lived mindfully, becomes yoga. People often ask me, Dr. Ananda, how many hours of yoga do you do per day? And I tell them 24 hours. And they cannot believe me. I say, yes, every moment of your life, when it is lived mindfully, when it is lived with awareness, it becomes yoga. Yoga is not just the physical practices. Those are the practices that can be seen and quantified externally. Yoga is the internal journey that is of a qualitative nature. You cannot quantify quality. You can only experience quality. Yoga is the cultural heritage of Bharatam, of India. A cultural heritage which has become the best gift India has given the world selflessly. Yoga is understood as something that unites. What is it that it unites? Commonly we say the body, the mind, the emotions, the society, and the spirit. That which yokes together, that which unites together is yoga. Yujjate anena iti yoga is said. Patanjali Maharishi, the codifier of the Yoga Darshana, tells us, Ata Yoga Anushasanam Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the stilling of the whirlpools of the mind stuff through disciplined living in the present moment. The Atha, which is the present moment, is where the Anushasanam, the discipline, must come. If the Chitta Vritti are to be Nirodha, if they are to be transcended. Because as long as we are caught up with the sensory world, we are reacting. And reactionary behavior is subhuman in nature. Yoga enables us to grow in humanity and become responsive, self-reflective, and someone who becomes a true human being, fulfilling our Manushya Dharma, our responsibility as a human being. We have got trapped into doingness. And all the time we are doing, and we are defining ourselves by what we do. So somebody says, who are you? We say, I'm a doctor. A doctor is basically what you do, and you are defining yourself as a doctor. I am a parent. That is again a definition of what you do. It is still not what you are. And when you meet anybody, the first question, how do you do? The next question comes, of course, when do you do? Why do you do? Huh? How do you do? What do you do? When do you do? How do you do? All of this has become doingness. And we must remember, as a human being, we are to be, not to do. And that is the greatest message of yoga. One of the great realized saints, Ramana Maharishi, the saint of the mountain, he used to say, be still. Summa iru is the Tamil phrase. Be still. Because in stillness, you are yourself. As long as you are caught up with doing, you have moved away from who you are. So the first principle of yoga is to be yourself and not define yourself by what you do, but define yourself by your essential nature, which is your swa rupa. And when the chitta vritti nirodha occurs, tada drishtu swarupe avasthanam. When the chitta vrittis are transcended, we can be ourselves and are not caught in doing. Now, what has happened in modern times is yoga is being defined as asana. And asana is the externalization of yoga. And so you can see somebody doing an asana, and so you say, oh, you are doing yoga. Now, you cannot really do yoga, you have to become yoga itself. The doing is the first part. When Patanjali talks about asana, he tells us that the doing is there, but then you have to let go of the doing. Prayatna shaitilya. Prayatna is the effort, which is the doing. I am going to do, I am going to take my hand and touch my foot, and I'm going to take my nose and put it to my knees, and I'm going to bend back until my head touches, my tailbone. That is the doing, the effort part. That is the prayatna. You have to let go of it. It doesn't mean the absence of effort, but your effort should become effortless. You have to move from doing into a state of being, which is what Lord Krishna, the Yogeshwar, tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, that your karma should be nishkama, without attachment. Because the moment you attach to your action, you have a motive to your action, there's a lot of doing. But when you let go of that attachment, you can do the action without doing, and then you are in a state which modern psychology calls flow, Flow, where you are doing, but you are not there anymore. It is something like what happens in the state of dhyana, where you are there, but it's not you anymore. You have merged with the object of contemplation. So the principle of yoga is not to identify with what we do, but to try and go inside. That is called swadhyaya, introspectional self-analysis. But when you start to look at yourself like that, there may be parts you don't like. And that is why people are scared to go inside. They are scared of what is there inside, the good, bad, and the ugly. So my beloved Ammaji, my mother Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, who came to India more than 50 years ago from the USA and became an Indian citizen, which is her best day in her life, she often tells us, Ammaji tells us, you should be able to watch yourself without identification, without condemnation, and without justification. When you can go in and look at yourself without identification, because the moment you identify, you're going to start condemning and justifying. So non-identification, this is called metacognition in modern psychology. Yoga calls it vairagya. Vairagya is the capacity to look at yourself without identification. without condemnation. I am so bad, I am so useless. No, just watch yourself and then don't justify. I am like this because of somebody else. Very beautiful concept of yoga is based on swadhyaya. So the second principle is to know yourself. You have to go inside and look at yourself in a compassionate manner. The third is to develop a sense of contentment. Contentment, which is santosha. In that contentment comes sukha, as Patanjali Maharishi tells us. Santoshat anuttama sukha labha. Because when you are content, you are at ease. Modern society is based on discontent. Yoga is based on developing a sense of inner contentment. And in that contentment, you are at ease with yourself. You can be yourself because you are no longer trying to be somebody else. So, the core principle of yoga is to be ourselves. And when you tell people be yourself, they think it is a license to be the worst version of themselves. What yoga says is you need to be the best version of yourself. The Vedic teachings that were echoed by Swami Vivekananda tell us each soul is potentially divine. And Patanjali tells us we are the highest divinity, but we have the klesha and the karma vipaka. And that is why yoga is all about getting rid of those parts that are not us. Like the sculptor, the Sippi, who's knocking away at the stone, removing everything from that stone that is not that statue. He doesn't create the statue, he removes everything that is not that statue. And then that statue, that idol, that final form of that murti, that rupa can manifest when you remove everything that is not. And this is one of the key principles of yoga is reduce that which you don't need. And in the last few months, thanks to the catalyst of COVID-19, which I look upon as a spiritual catalyst for transformation, I believe we have all been made to realize that we don't need everything we thought we needed. We have been given a chance to learn the lesson. All you need is less. And in that less, you have more. There was one question someone talked about, a concept which is very close to my heart, and I'll just use 1 minute to dwell on that. Yoga therapy and yogopathy. And yogopathy is the application of yoga like we are using allopathy. One asana for one disease, one pranayama for one disease. Yoga chikitsa, which is application of yoga as a therapy, understands each individual is unique. That is the principle of Ayurveda also, the Prakriti principle. Each person is unique and each person needs to be helped through yoga in a unique way. That is yoga chikitsa. Yogapathy is trying to find one pill for one ill, and that is why it is so important for us to realize yoga is a way of life that has the principles of achar, vichar, ahar, vihar, and vyavahar. These are the principles of living as a human being. The yama niyama enable us to bring down the subhuman aspects and enhance the humane aspects so that ultimately we can manifest our divine nature. These are some of the very important principles of yoga as a way of life because yoga is mindful living. It is a transformative journey that is happening every moment. And as soon as we realize each moment is an opportunity for us to transform ourselves into a better version of ourselves, well, yoga then comes alive in our life. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Bhavanani ji. That was really, really beautiful and really insightful how we can let go of the need of being doing yoga and then rather being in yoga. So it was really, really helpful. Thank you.